Maybe J.J. McCarthy as a coming out party.
Welcome into the Tickets Basketball Postgame Show, featuring Derek Pearson and former Husker and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! He's going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Turkey Day to those who celebrate. This is Thanksgiving, and this is 93.7 The Ticket, the Hoops Postgame Show here on a Thanksgiving. And what better way to do it than have Nebraska and Oklahoma meet up on the football field? Basketball court. As kind of a change of pace from years back. But Nebraska did come into this game looking for a rebound, looking to win, coming off that loss to St. John's. Ultimately does not get it done, loses 69-56 in the first round of the ESPN Events Invitational. So a few more games for them to go. So at least they can still come away from Orlando feeling like a winner. But we'll talk about this game in particular, Nebraska and Oklahoma. We will have DP join us live from Orlando. He was at the game. He'll be down there for the tournament. So that'll be exciting here in a bit. But first, also, we have the Husker Hoops Hall of Famer and longtime NBA vet Eric Strickland on the line. Strick, how's it going?
Well, got a chance to watch this game and like some good things. There were some good things that happened during the game. There was also some bad things. It was one of those games where you just really weren't able to get over the hump. They just weren't able to just break through whenever they had an opportunity or make great plays tonight. It just was it was one of those things. It just was never. It never felt like they were on their way to getting it done tonight. And it was you like some things that happened during this game with Juwan Gary had a tremendous game. You like the start that Griesel got off to, and then it dissipated. So you just had a lot of different things that were going on in this game. Just some turnovers that were crucial. You get a secure rebound, and you lose the ball. It was just a weird type of game, but unfortunately, they came up a little short tonight.
Yeah, Nebraska did. I mean, they had some advantages that you're going to look at, particularly the rebounding battle. They did win that one 35-23, dominated the offensive glass compared to what Oklahoma was able to do 11-4 there. But I think as we're going to see throughout the season, and it's been a story, unfortunately, for Fred Hoiberg, is that, if you go up against a team that's shooting pretty well from beyond the arc, that can make the difference in the game. That's a lot of extra points there. And Oklahoma did just that. 9 of 20 from beyond the arc. That's good for 45%. Nebraska bailed out a little bit by Juwan Gary, 3 there at the end to help get to 3 out of 14 for the day. That's around 21%. So, there's some of the extra points there. Ultimately, Nebraska also just struggling. Yeah. And it's kind of weird because it's going to be, from game to game, it seems like a lot of it's going to be on Wilcher and Tominaga to get their shots off. I still view those guys as kind of keys if you're going to have too much success from beyond the arc. Bind tonight, Wilcher was 0 for 3 from beyond the arc, Tominaga 0 for 2, so 0 for 5. Gary, again, with that late 3, ends up going 2 for 5 to look a little bit better, but again, that one wasn't really guarded. That was with the final seconds of the shot clock, so I don't even know how much, or the game clock, I should say. So I don't even know how much you want to take that into it. Bandamel, the only one to hit a contested 3, was 1 of 4 from beyond the arc there. And again, that's nothing new with Fred Hoiberg teams. It's kind of been a struggle from beyond the arc. Other teams have kind of built themselves with the identity that they're going to score a bunch, and so that was maybe more problematic than it will be with this team, who's going to, play tough defense. I mean, that matchup zone was working for a while there, but it's still modern day basketball, and there's still a lot of threes going to be put up. And when you don't get it going, that's going to struggle. And as Byron says off YouTube, actually, we have no creativity on offense, so nothing well. So it's not just the threes there. It does seem like Nebraska also doesn't have a go-to answer quite yet to try to get out of maybe a shooting slump. And they try a couple different things, but it seems odd. It's like they're going to shooting slump. Blaze Keita eventually gets a shot down low and makes it, but that's generally not going to be what you go to. So it's almost just like it kind of happened because they ran out of options.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like I said, they did some things that were good, right? some things that are really unusual. I mean, the Groves brothers, they're pretty good, and they had a really solid game. Especially Tanner. Tanner played really well. He had been struggling as well from range, and comes out and finds his rhythm in this game, which is something that just seems to happen with Nebraska at different times. Guys that have been struggling, somehow they find their mojo, and they end up having a great game. But like I said, they did some good things. Like, they out-rebounded this team. But it's pretty understandable how you could do that. But they should have had more rebounds. Oklahoma did. But Nebraska got on the boards. They hit it hard. They hit the offensive and the defensive rebounds pretty solidly. And that's one of the things that you can appreciate, is that they still were hustling, but it's just little things. It's little stupid turnovers. Like, for example, CJ Wilcher secures a great offensive rebound and dribbles it off his feet. You had different situations where Keita may lose the ball, or Juwan Gary, and those guys will have the possession, and just something will happen. Greasel gets a rebound, and then it ends up as a turnover. And then those are the things that you've got to eliminate. They've got to play flawless basketball. It's just come down to that, Bach. They've got to play flawless basketball. They can't have and take halves off. They just can't do that. And that's what's been happening, is you're seeing a lot of times where these guys, as Bruce said, he says, they look good, but then they fell apart in the second half. Down seven at the half. The second half, they just couldn't break through beyond 7. It just continued to kind of hover at that 7 mark, and just really wasn't able to close the gap. And every time they got a chance to make something happen, they would, make something happen by way of a bad shot, or kind of trying to get into their own little rhythm, and it looks stagnant again. And that's unusual. They usually move the ball a little bit better than that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how it plays throughout the year, if they can get it going. I see a lot of people on YouTube, on Facebook. The comments early on are not necessarily about this game, but about this season, and being frustrated and wondering if they can go through another year of this. And thanks you guys for listening. And even if you can't watch the game, you can always tune in the post-game show. We'll let you know how it goes. But I think with this team, it was always going to be a team that is going, obviously not going to go undefeated. So there's no question there. But it was going to take some bumps and bruises, and kind of have to learn how to play together. It's not necessarily a young team as far as, years of experience, but still just kind of chemistry wise. Like I said, I think they have a problem, and they might have a problem all year. They got to kind of find out who that guy is, but who do you go to when you need a bucket, or what play do you draw up? It's kind of from game to game. Nebraska, I have to double check today who the score was, because that might break the streak.
No, it's Juwan Gary today. Juwan Gary led the team.
Yeah, Juwan Gary. All right, so Juwan Gary led the game with 16 points for Nebraska. Up until this point, the previous 4 games, they had a different leading scorer in each game. And you said that kind of before the season. It's going to be that kind of team. There's benefits to that, but again, when you need a bucket, or and especially crunch time, which we haven't really been in that situation too much this season quite yet, who do you go to? And is it the hot hand? If it's kind of like tonight, there's not necessarily a hot hand, maybe a hot stretch here and there. It's just going to be a little bit difficult, but that's again why I think, Strick, were you impressed with their defense tonight? I mean, at times, obviously, Oklahoma was able to shoot from beyond the arc, but it looked like with that matchup zone, that's what they were kind of giving them. And Nebraska is at least good at getting a hand in their face, and at times getting a hand in the lanes. Again, I think defense is now more the identity of this team. So maybe that's where we should grade it. But at the same time, a stagnant offense is a stagnant offense, and it's it's going to be a struggle. But what did you think? What did you see from defensively tonight?
Well, I think on the defensive side of things, I think it was good at times. It was solid in stretches, but it wasn't consistent all the time. There were breakdowns. There were direct line drives. There were stupid fouls. There were, just little things like that you're trying to make sure that you eliminate out of the game, right? This team as a whole, they ended up shooting not many free throws, which is good, but they were timely in the fouls and the stuff that happened. It was a lot of timely things that happened during this game, which did not work to the favor of Nebraska. And I think that's what ended up costing them this game. And when you needed a stop, or when you needed a turnover, when you needed something to happen, they just didn't really have anybody to make that play. And it wasn't consistent in that area. So there were balls that were kind of getting lost in the paint, and guy from Oklahoma would find it, a Groves, and they'd end up putting it in or getting a timely rebound. It was just weird, man. It was, I don't know. I can't even really put a finger on anything particular about this game. It just was weird. It was just a weird, awkward game.
Oh, yeah, and maybe it can kind of feel that way just from where they are. I mean, they're in Orlando on Thanksgiving. It's kind of a strange way to kind of, just to begin with. Nebraska not usually in these positions. Sometimes, you get into some of these tournaments. This is a pretty prolific one, I suppose, for, being on national TV, right in front of the Egg Bowl, which is starting up right now. Some college football on here. It's just, and again, I don't know if this team's comfortable playing, outside of some of the lower level competition, comfortable playing at home as as opposed to going on the road now in Orlando. So very, very kind of a strange game altogether. But we've got a lot of breakthrough here. Again, DP is going to join us. He's live out there in Orlando. We better take a quick break because we're running up against station identification here. We'll be right back here on the Hoops Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock, or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. Back to the Ticket's basketball postgame show, featuring Derek Pearson and former Husker and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Hoops Postgame Show here following the Nebraska-Oklahoma matchup on Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, the Huskers fall in this one 69-56 to Oklahoma in the first round of the ESPN Events Invitational down there in Walt Disney World. I'm Jake Bachman back in studio. We have the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet Strick streaming in as well. Eric Strickland, I should say. Strick to those who know him. And we also have DP live from Orlando. He decided instead of getting together and getting some turkey this Thanksgiving, he's just going to hang out with Mickey Mouse down there. So, DP, can you hear us?
I hear you fine, guys. How you doing, man? Happy Thanksgiving.
Good. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I got to ask because I know I've been to Orlando, so I know basically it is just a giant Walt Disney World down there. Have you seen the mouse yet? Have you seen him walking around?
Yeah. Actually, Minnie came up and got a little too friendly. I had to tell her to chill. I got it. It was Thanksgiving and all. Yeah. I had to take my shades off. I was like, calm down. I appreciate the energy, but let's take a break. Let me watch the basketball game. It's right here on campus, so it's at the wide world of sports down here, Disney and everything else. I was stunned at how much they actually charge people to come to Disneyland. It's $159 a day. Yeah, for a day pass. I went, no, we cool.
Oh yeah, DP. It's not cheap.
No, they're making their money. They're making their money coming and going because they rather enjoy it because nothing's cheap inside either. So, thank goodness for this. We're on credential and everything's good. They did okay. It's a cool event. Real good energy. 8 teams are here. Of course, the final game is Nebraska was the game 3 of the day. And then Memphis and Seton Hall are about to play. And it's really weird. Strick, you will understand this. Bach, you will understand this. The listeners will understand this. But Memphis shops at a different grocery store than Nebraska.
It just look different.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, their groceries look different. They walked in the building, and I thought, oh, this is the Orlando Magic walking in the door. It's a little different. So, but the game was, I don't know how it looked on TV, but this was maybe the most competitive 10-point game I watched in a long time. Strick, I don't know that I've seen a Nebraska team in recent history defend with as much energy as this team did tonight.
Yeah, I think DP. I like the way that they got after it. I think there were just some weird situations. For example, just little things that were weird for me, like Breidenbach just runs the guy out of bounds. Those type of things are just kind of weird to me. But they were being aggressive. So, and that's what I was trying to tell Bach. I said, Bach, it was one of those things in this game that there were some good things that were done. It really was. There were some tremendous things that were done. They just weren't able to break through. And so it just felt weird to me. It just felt like it just wasn't able to happen.
There's no doubt. The first half, the 3-point shooting in the first half, I'm trying to understand how Oklahoma shot as well as they did with contested shots in space. They kept banging them down, and I didn't understand Nebraska's refusal. The wrong people are taking 3-point shots for me.
Right.
And
right.
It just seemed a little off. It seemed like there were some folks in place who, quite frankly, are being asked to do things that they're not comfortable doing. I do want to say this. One, Derek Walker will probably be back tomorrow. And probably actually get minutes tomorrow. That is an important thing because he's the conductor, he's the grand pace setter for this team, and they haven't had him. They'll be better defensively. They'll be better offensively. They'll be better on the pick and roll game on both ends of the floor. They missed no less than 8 opportunities on a back cut from the pick and roll with the big. Like they just missed it. The bigs didn't see it. That's not Blaze's game. It's not Breitbach's game. It is Derek Walker's game.
Right.
They missed opportunities tonight. They'll get better with Derek. They'll play differently with Derek. They'll play more intelligently with Derek. But tonight was still a missed opportunity because they could – I mean, look, as physical as Oklahoma played, Nebraska matched up with that. They just didn't finish buckets.
Right.
Blaze Keaton, once he learns that he's actually big and strong enough to finish underneath the basket, he'll have different numbers all the way around. They're learning lessons as they go. This is game 5. They'll be different in game 15.
Yeah, I think that's important to remember as we kind of get through this, navigate this early part of the season, that it is a team that is still learning how to play with one another. And, I want to kind of ask you both this, and you kind of hit on it there, DP, but Strick, we'll kind of go to you on this one. Is like kind of DP was saying, is Walker a missing piece or the missing piece? I mean, if he slides in, is this team going to take a step up considerably pretty quickly, or is it going to be still kind of learning to play together and moving along throughout the season?
Well, I don't know if you can say because it still is one of those teams that's going to have tremendous balance. I will say that he's a cornerstone of what the team would like to do, because there's times when Blaze Keita gets the ball at the high post, or he gets it at the 3-point line, or he gets it on I won't use the short-term definition, but the dribble handoff situations, and he's just not able to handle. Whereas Walker can. Mm-hmm. Walker knows how to find those little places, those little dunk spots in drives. He knows how to finish in traffic. He knows how to use his body and gets hands on ball. So he does a lot of different things that are quality for the team that the other bigs just right now, they're not able to do. So getting him back, I think, could be an integral part, because he's a great relief valve for a team that doesn't have a traditional point guard, right? He's a relief valve that will give Griesel some break, will give, Vandermill a little relief, will allow them to be able to work off and through him, so that way it'll help them to move and hopefully be a little bit more succinct in their offensive scheme.
Yeah, I couldn't help but feel kind of throughout this game that he would definitely been helpful. And, I saw TP tweeting on, putting it out on Twitter there earlier. So I was kind of getting excited to see if he would play. Ultimately, they're still kind of waiting out on that. And hopefully we'll get to see him this weekend as they continue going. DP, what do you think this team can do? And again, with or without Walker, you can kind of answer here, but we were talking about it in the first segment. They still don't seem to have the guy, when they're going through a stretch of just like, what is the go-to play for Nebraska's offense, I guess? What would you probably try to draw up or think of early on in the season?
Well, it's different with Derek out there, because Griesel, with his size advantage, his ability to post up, his ability to finish at the rack, with Derek being able to pull that extra big out of that space. Right, that's the big thing. It's for Derek to pull that big. If he pulls Groves out of the middle, Griesel can get to work down there and not have to worry about it. I think it's important to talk about how Derek is the system when he's on the floor. Like, he is the system because he's a difference maker. His ability to finish. Blaze Keita should have had 4 or 5 more buckets. I think over the course of the year, Keita will do better when he's under the basket. He'll just catch together and go to the rim, to the front of the rim and finish. Breitenbach has to learn that as well. That's not a problem with Derek Walker. I mean, he catches and finishes at a 70% clip. Like, that's a factual number. So we know what Derek does in the paint when he gets the ball down there. And against Groves had an advantage against Keita and Breitenbach. He wouldn't have that advantage against Derek Walker. Derek will make everybody better. I mean, you imagine Derek on the floor with Juwan Gary. and Bandamel and Greasel. That's 4 guys who can attack the boards, all give you 7+ rebounds a game. They can all finish in space. They'll also change the spacing on the floor. So look, that's what Walker does for them. And they just have to be open to that. They'll be better defensively. They'll pass the ball better offensively. All those things are in play. They'll be better with Derek Walker. Again, I talked to Luca Virgilio a little bit ago after the game, and he kind of whispered that he thought Derek would play, actually get minutes tomorrow. So, but let's see. I didn't really get into the why and whatnot. I wasn't really worried about that. But it's good to see Derek back in uniform. It's good to see him going through drills. It's good to see him sitting on the bench. But we know that he changes the team when he gets on the floor.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I can imagine this team looking a lot different, or just kind of the pieces kind of fitting a little bit better together. It was kind of interesting too. I want to get your thought on this. The broadcasters were really kind of at a certain point almost trying to energize CJ Wilcher to go and get some more shots. Is that something that you think that maybe he needs to be a little bit more aggressive? Maybe particularly without Derek Walker in to be that scorer, or do you think it's still early in the season? They're still kind of finding their roles, and he ended up taking 10 shots, but I think it was definitely throughout the first half that the TV broadcasters were looking for a little bit more from him.
Well, I mean, and Strick will understand this, that's a basketball family, the Wilcher family, and his dad was there. It was like, go get yours, man. And you're trying not to outcoach, Fred Hoiberg. You're not trying to outshout him. You're not trying to put him in a different space. But the reality is this offense is better when CJ is aggressive, but it also has to be a natural, organic aggression. It can't be forced. To me, the person that I want to see more from offensively, he actually is folks are going to be mad at me for saying it, but Casey Tominaga is the most fluid offensive player on this roster. Like, his ability to get in space, to get into the paint. He's got 8 or 9 different finishes around the rim. His pull-up game is nice. He can still jump stop. He actually uses the lost art jump stop and kicks out the shooters in the corner in his face. But his ability to finish, look, he was giving Oklahoma some problems putting the ball on the floor and getting into space. So, look, it all becomes different. They've got to shoot better than 2 for 14 or 3 for 15 or whatever the final number is. They've got to defend the 3 better. We know that about the Big Ten Conference. We know that, shooters will do that. I like their ability to play physical without losing some of the fluidness from their offense. Bandamel gives them several different options. Again, it was pretty interesting late in the game when they went small with Greasel as the big on the floor. So they're still working some things out. I like the grit. Quite frankly, I like the grittiness that they showed tonight. In what was a slugfest in the second half, they took on an Oklahoma team, went toe-to-toe. They couldn't get over the hump and make things happen, right? They got it to 6, and then they are hitting back-to-back threes. But it looked different. But here's the other thing. Tomorrow, they're going to get either a Memphis team that got upset tonight or a Seton Hall team that we know is a tournament cusp team. So either way, they're going to get more answers tomorrow. Like that, tomorrow's matchup is not going to be fun no matter who it is, but it'll provide them answers about who they are and who the players are on this team.
Yeah, and it's
I think also
too.
real quick also is the thing to take into account, and this is what I'm hoping changes hopefully tomorrow. The shots that they got weren't bad shots. They just didn't hit them. Right. The difference in it was that Oklahoma did. They got looks or they had shots that were actually challenged. They made them. That was the difference. But the shots in Nebraska took, they weren't bad shots. They had looks. I mean, they ended up making the right plays, making the right passes, finding the right guy at the point that he needed to take the shot, and he took the shot and just didn't make it. That was really the whole difference, I thought, from this game.
Strick, it was like I kept thinking of you during the game because this was like these are guys that I could see you playing with alongside. Like these dudes battled. They weren't the best. They didn't have the best 3-point shooting night, but they were gritty in how they defended. They were generous in how they shared the ball. They battled on the boards. I don't know if you paid attention, but Nebraska won the rebounding battle 35-19. Like those are crazy numbers. Nebraska is, shooting free throws at twice the numbers or 3 times the numbers that Oklahoma did. So there was a lot in play, but 3-point shooting was the difference maker. Look, I mean, those 27 points Oklahoma got on shooting threes, that was the difference compared to Nebraska's 9. That was the difference in the game. Big shots every time Nebraska would get within 6 or 7, Oklahoma would knock down a 3 or 2, and then that would be it. So there were some positives, but the questions still remain about your ability to shoot threes when playing at high level competition. That's a thing. And then who's going to be the go-to bucket getter? My mind is changing in that Vanderbilt seems like if he becomes just a tad more aggressive, he can be that guy. We know that Juwan Gary can get buckets. He's SEC lessened. He's not afraid of anybody in the Big Ten or anybody in a Power 5. So he's another guy. Those two will have options. But CJ and Casey Tamanaga, look, they're going to have to step up and get buckets. I mean, Casey's done it twice this year where he scored 15 points. And then the return of Derek Walker, who you can kind of circle that he's going to give you double digits as well. So,
free
tomorrow
throws is important. They haven't shot great.
More about this Husker team, and it'll be interesting. I believe they have they're 4:30 tomorrow, based on the schedule. But I'm sure they'll announce that here in a minute.
Free throws have been horrid, Bach, and they need to really they need to be better. I mean, you're talking about that's another game in the 50s for them shooting free throws. They've got to, as I said, DP, a little bit earlier before you came on, I said they can't take halves off, minutes off. They've got to be able to play a full game, and they've got to play dang near good basketball, flawless basketball in a lot of different ways in order to make the big upsets, or they got to do it defensively. It's got to be one of those two ways, but they can't have minutes off for long stretches or hiatuses. At times, and definitely free throws is some of the areas that they can definitely improve on. If you're shooting more free throws than them, which they only shot 3, you shoot 19. If you make those free throws, I think this is a different game. Let's just be honest. Yeah, you're supposed to win. I always said as a coach, the teams that I coached, the numbers were always simple that we wanted to shoot 50 from the field, we wanted to shoot 40 from 3, and we wanted to shoot 75 from the free throw line. If we did those things, and then we defended the way we're going to defend, the numbers tend to equate, right? The numbers seem to match up. Nebraska is not, those are numbers that they can circle and work from. You guys are going to laugh. Okay, there's a pelican that is staring me down like I'm on his property. Like this pelican is seriously ready to just like, let's go DP. I'm feeling frisky. Like he spread his wings at me, bro. You
might want to move away slowly. Those guys,
it's hilarious. Like it's outside the arena, and this is a big one. Like he's 5 foot tall.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's a big one, and he's looking at me like he turned his head sideways, like he measuring me. So if I take off all of a sudden, y'all will know why.
I'll say if you need to, you can find safety. I mean, that sounds scary.
No, there's like I kept looking to see if there was like another pelican around that he was defending or something. But he's like walking through cars, like, man, y'all need to leave me alone.
That's his town.
Oh man, listen, man. It again, good stuff. A lot of notable folks. Of course, the Hoiberg family, entire family's down here. Larry, the cable guy's here, watching the games. Nebraska fans outdrank the Oklahoma fans for sure. They definitely outdanced them during the halftime challenge. They did that as well. So Nebraska didn't go without total wins. There's a lot of Husker families here. I'd say there were 100, 150 Husker fans in the building, but I can tell you that it was double digits. There were some Husker fans that showed up in large numbers who were pissed because the get-in price for tickets was $65.
Mm.
And they were not happy. Like they thought, an invitational, they'd be able to get in. It's not like the building was packed. But yeah, there was probably 15, 20 Husker fans that were just going to protest because they thought $65 was too much to ask for an invitational. So but Husker fans showed up.
Based on seating, I was going to say it looked like they could have, ushered in a few more people in there. I did want to ask you. You mentioned some of the people you saw out there. Was Doc Sadler among one of them? He recently joined the Sooner staff.
I did not see Doc here. Sam Cassell was here. A couple of members of the Magic were here. A ton of scouts were here. NBA scouts because they're here watching. So there's a ton of NBA scouts here. It's kind of it's a nice little gathering of folks. So, and I'm sure as it moves along because the games will get better tomorrow. Quite frankly, if it plays out, Memphis wins and Memphis and Oklahoma go at it. That's a good one. That's a good one. And we're all still recuperating from Siena just taking Florida State to the woodshed. They ran Florida State out of the building by 20, and the game wasn't that close. So, yeah. These invitational Stanford, it'll be Stanford and Florida State. We'll open it up tomorrow. It'll be Ole Miss and Siena, and then it'll be probably Memphis and Oklahoma with Nebraska and what I would imagine to be Seton Hall. But if Seton Hall jumps up and stuns Memphis, we have a whole nother story to tell.
Well, and obviously a game against either of those teams, as you mentioned earlier, would be nice. You kind of think about those resume boosters. And I don't know if Nebraska's in position, especially this early, to think about those resumes. But what is, if you think that it's pretty imperative to the season that they at least get one win out in Orlando just to kind of boost their ego? Because they're, you're going to be playing some brand names down there.
Yeah, because the way it plays out, they if it plays out based on how it played out so far, they would end up playing Florida State, who didn't, their best player isn't playing, but they didn't look good with the ones they had. So, look, get a win. Nebraska they have to get a win in this thing. Like, period. I don't care how the brackets play out. They have to get a win. It would be nice if it's tomorrow. I like the matchup against Seton Hall, quite frankly, especially if Derek's playing. So, one game at a time, the whole mission, go 1-0, win the next one. That's all that matters.
And DP, you'll be live from Orlando all tournament long, right?
Yeah. So I'll be, based on the schedule, I'll have the Husker Iowa football game on my laptop while I sit courtside.
That's kind of cool.
Because that kicks off at 3, and the Husker basketball probably 4:30. But I'll be here till Monday.
Okay.
So the final day is Sunday. I'll be here, calling it out to you guys. So we'll do it again tomorrow.
And not to distract too much from the basketball side of things, but might be interesting by the time you get back here Monday.
Yeah, they don't know.
We don't know.
Like, nobody knows. Like, okay, let me know when you get pad to paper.
Yeah.
If you get ink to paper, then I'll get excited or not get excited. I explained to somebody today. My salary doesn't go up or down whether they win, no matter who they pick as head coach. So, we'll do the job that we're paid to do, no matter who it is. And when they announce or ready to announce, we'll get to work and we'll talk about it and introduce whoever it is to the fan base. Because who knows?
Yeah.
That's the right answer. Who knows?
Yeah, nobody knows. A lot of speculation. All we know is we hope Nebraska can take down Iowa tomorrow in football, and we still, like you were saying, as we you're going to watch that game and scout for us as Memphis and Seton Hall goes at it.
I'm just telling you, Memphis looks different.
All right.
Memphis looks different. They came out the building looking different. I was like, man, these are grown-ups. All these dudes have voted twice already. These are grown men they brought in the building today. So,
all right, we're cheering for Memphis then. There you have it. Straight from me.
There you go. Yep. You guys have a great rest of your Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you tomorrow early evening.
All right, sounds good. Take it easy. Have fun down there.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there he goes. DP live from Orlando. This is the Hoops Post Game show here. We're wrapping up Nebraska and Oklahoma. We got about 15 minutes. We'll take a quick break and give our final thoughts, wrap it up for you guys. And then we got a full slate of stuff going on tomorrow. Big day in Husker athletics. So maybe we'll give you a few thoughts on that as well. Strick and I will be back here on the Hoops Post Game show here in a few minutes. Don't go away.
This is Lindsay Teal from the Nebraska golf team. If you're looking for a Christmas gift for the avid golfer in your life, don't give them something they can't even use until spring. Get them the gift of indoor golf from Double Eagle Golf. Grab a gift card for a stocking stuffer or give the gift of a membership and let them golf all year long. Their space is also perfect for Christmas parties, corporate events, birthday parties, or anything else. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you can earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. It's football season, and that means you're tailgating with friends, or if you're like me, yelling at the TV during Vikings games. Trek CBD has a variety of products that help calm me down during the games, so don't scare my dog. But in the rare cases that I yell too much, there's CBD products for him, too, and all other pets. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Trek CBD has it all at 84th and Anderson. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
It's here, the day you've all been waiting for. Brown Shoe Fit's big Black Friday sale. We're offering 20% off store-wide, including 20% off the sale rack. We got Hey Dudes for 25% off, and Smartwell socks are still buy 3, get 1 free. So come on down to Brown Shoe Fit for our big Black Friday sale all weekend long. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. Brown Shoe Fit Company on the corner of 66th and Q. You're in Lincoln.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Ticket Water Cooler with Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
It's crazy. This Iowa-Nebraska game is going to play out exactly how you expect it will, and we all expect it to play out the same. Like, there's just Iowa has a certain way they win, Nebraska has a certain way they lose,
and they match up very well.
And it's going to just perfectly blend for exactly what you expect on Friday.
You know what? You're right.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to the Tickets Basketball Postgame Show, featuring Derek Pearson and former Husker and 9-year NBA vet Eric Strickland on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, this is the Hoops Basketball post-game show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We are brought to you by Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. So thanks to them once again for being a sponsor for our show. We'd like to do this after every basketball game, or almost every basketball game at least, for Nebraska basketball as we get through this season. Today, another loss for Nebraska, so they dropped to 3-2. This one to heated old-time rival Oklahoma, 69-56. I'll tell you what, this is a very small detail here, Strick, but I don't like those gray Oklahoma Sooners jerseys. I was kind of thinking, Nebraska, Oklahoma, the old rivalry renewed, and then they throw it out there and it doesn't even look like Oklahoma. So, it ruined my mood a little bit here on Thanksgiving, but that's a small detail there. I did add up Nebraska now with their free throw performance tonight, 11 of 19 for 58% from the line. They're up to, I shouldn't say up, they're down a little bit because of that performance now to 61% on the year. If that continues, man, you're right. I mean, this is a team right now with a thin margin of error that they're just not going to win a whole lot of games that way.
Yeah, it's just there. It's called that for a reason. Free throws, free translation opportunities, right? Free opportunities. And when you're a team that's trying to find your way or to get back into a game, or you need to push a lead because you just haven't right now played a sustainable game. You got to think, right? Even in close games, if you have anything under a double-digit lead against this team with the way that they're shooting free throws right now, you're okay with that. You're okay with putting them on the line. You're okay with being a little bit more aggressive, i.e. what St. John's did to them. Second half, they jumped down their necks, right? You're okay with that if you're not shooting good free throws. You're a little bit more hesitant. You're a little bit more tentative if you can stroke your free throws. If you're a high percentage free throw shooting team, you give yourself a little bit better opportunities because teams aren't going to hound you, hawk you, overpressure you, because they're worried about getting in the bonus too quick, because they're worried about adding easy points and clock stoppage. But that changes the game when you're not a good free throw shooting team.
Yeah, and like you said, thin margin of error for what Nebraska has to make up in other areas, specifically when you're not shooting the three well that night. I did want to ask you about a few guys before we get out of here. Denham Dawson, again, to me, another guy that came off the bench, was the only guy that did not score in this game, only put up one shot. Is he still, because he's got the athleticism and he showed it in spurts there. He reminds me of just like kind of a young player still trying to kind of find his role within the team. Do you expect him to significantly impact this team down the line, or do you think he's always kind of, at least for this season, energizer there when you need him, but not going to be too much of an impact?
I would say that he's still young. So I would say the issue with that is you pretty much have Gary and Bandamil, who are guys you can throw on guys to lock down or play good unless they get into foul trouble. Denham is that guy, right? So obviously when the senior leadership passes on and moves out, he'll be able to kind of find himself in a little higher role. Denham's very similar to me. It's just the only difference is I was a better scorer, better shooter, right? So Denham defensively is one of those high intensity lockdown type of guys, get up in your face, get after you, just the same way that I would, right? But he just, right now, there's a liability and you need scoring. You only score 59 points. You don't shoot the ball well from three. You're basically handicapping yourself by having him at times where he's not able to really shoot. This is where he needs to not shoot the three, but he needs to start finding those little backdoor cuts. He needs to start finding those little avenues to kind of creep in or get a tip in or do little things like that. Yeah. That's the thing I would be coaching and teaching him on, as far as the way to be an impact on the offensive side of things, i.e. Draymond Green, right?
Yeah.
Very similar, except Draymond's able to make things happen in the open court. But be a hound, be a lockdown, accept the challenge. That was just how I was. And that's what Bandamil and Gary does right now, is they take the challenge of probably the best offensive guys on the other teams right now. And that doesn't leave room for Denham.
Yeah, interesting. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about was DP was kind of talking about Tominaga, trying to get him going. I know it depends on probably the set particularly, kind of what Nebraska's doing that time in the half court offense. They'll have Tominaga running around, but there are times when he's just kind of standing and looking and kind of beyond the arc. Is he still providing something with spacing there, or does he need to learn to move without the ball a little better?
Listen, I would even say it's not even really on the offensive side of things. The liability for Tominaga is not even ultimately defense. It is defensive, but it's in the collective rebounding game. He stands around. That's where I see a lot of standing around, a lot of watching, a lot of I need here's the thing. You're big, but sometimes you may have a mismatch situation where you may have Gary on a bigger guy, right? Just like today. Gary was playing against the Groves. Gary's 6'7". Groves are 6'10". Good sized body guys. But on a shot from a perimeter guy, you check him. If he doesn't move, you go down and put an extra body on the big man. That's how you help out. You do that, still checking to see what happens with your guys, watching the trajectory of the ball. If it's going to be a long rebound, you release a little bit early and just kind of get out. He just doesn't have that yet. Those mental acuities that, which helped me to kind of basically get into the league. Those are the things that you have to be able to do. You have to be able to kind of get down there, get in the mix, even if it's not you getting the rebound, getting the tip, keeping him from jumping, making him jump over your back. Those are the things that he's not doing yet, and it becomes a liability in some instances.
Is that something that can be taught for the next couple of years? I mean, I know he can make a little bit better, but is a lot of it is part of that just instincts? Is that something he's got a long way to go there?
See, this is the thing that I see. This is the thing that I think it makes it difficult for Fred because, as a guy at next levels, yes, he's got great staff. The guys do a wonderful job, great defensive concepts, all of that. Sometimes it's little things that you can add value in a voice. It would be something that I would mention to them, right? If I happen to be there. If I was watching practice, there's been things that I've kind of mentioned to them. There's a lot of straight line drives. Guys are open. I just from observation, right? I could throw a little nugget at them, right? But that's teachable stuff, Bach. It really is. But sometimes there's so many things going on. One coach has a scout. The other coach may have to track deflections or whatever. Other coaches are there's other duties that sometimes those little intricacies you may not pick up unless it's in a film session or if you're really doing breakdowns and you're able to get that information. So it's difficult. Sometimes somebody can see something from a different perspective and could be able to provide that data.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Hopefully Nebraska, like we said, we don't necessarily have their next opponent going. We have Memphis and Seton Hall battling out. The loser of that game will play Nebraska. Nebraska now in the losers bracket, obviously, after losing 61-51 to Oklahoma. They will play at 4:30 tomorrow, and then the final game will be on Sunday. Whether they win that game or not, either early in the day, looks like around 10 a.m., as early as 10 a.m. Sunday. If they
so they do get 3 games, Bach? Real quick, say that again, but I want to make sure because it was asked. So they do get 3 games. They are going to play on a Sunday. It's just in a consolation type bracket. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's either way. I think if you lose your first 2 games, there's still another game to be played Sunday. So only I think only one team will come out of here without a win, and hopefully that's not Nebraska. But that'll wrap it up for the Hoops post game show. Strick, you have any parting words here on a Thanksgiving as we wrap it up?
Well, I think it goes back to what DP said. I mean, these are lessons. It's gonna. What are they gonna look like when Derek Walker comes back? What are they gonna? What type of impact or influence that he's gonna have on the game? That's yet to be seen. He's not gonna be able to play a lot of minutes early on, but if he can get ready before Big Ten, maybe there could be a difference in some games down the road.
Here at The Ticket, of course, we are going to bring you more Hoops post-game shows as much as we can throughout the year. We also have our normal slate going on a Black Friday and up until about 12:30. That's when we'll start the pregame show for the Nebraska-Iowa game. Of course, then we'll have the postgame show for that as well. So a busy day tomorrow in Husker Sports. We look forward to covering it for you. We look forward to talking to you. Hopefully you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks again, once again, to DP down there in Orlando, to Strick, and to you guys for listening to us. I'm Jake Bachman. Have a good evening.
Are you looking for some holiday fun right in the heart of downtown Lincoln? Bring your